Smokin and Tokin with the general. Sitting by the campfire late at night. Anybody got them late night sights? We talking night vision goggles with the green and red lenses and the heat-seeking targets that we can put them up in the hairs of the scope. We can either pop them from a distance or give them the rope. That's all she wrote. So I don't really got like a whole lot to say. Okay, so that's all they'll let me invite. How y'all doing? Up in this mofo. Coming in. Hey, Crystal, I see you. Dum, 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 dum. Hey. I see all this divine feminine energy in here. There go Chief Strong, Giggle God. Okay, now we getting some feathers up in this motherfucker. Feathers up. Got all the sisters in here making me blush just to see them. See, they trying to figure out this conundrum in this game called life. So we gonna go over a little bit of stuff. But I don't really got nothing to talk about, so I'm just gonna be fucking rambling. Oh shit. Now I gotta bring the heat. Somebody said I started this live at 9:11. Yeah, so we gotta get into some shit here. So who wanna come over here and ask 100 questions? Get some questions in here, we can get some shit jumping off. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about, Manson. This is the LSD edition. Lord Stone's disciple. This is a Charlie Manson, helter skelter, understand what they doing, and you won't be tricked. Ethiopian New Year. Good news. 9/24. Greetings. Y'all flipping mad signs in the comments, and I'm seeing what they meaning in real time. So one of the things that gave us a heads up for the 24th, which I don't know if anything will happen or not, but one of the speakers overseas, one of the heads of state or chancellors or some shit like that, said that this is going to be a day that you're going to know exactly what you was doing when the shit hit the fan. That's what he said, basically. So everybody's watching. But I don't know. This shit should have been hit the fan because it stink real bad, like it didn't turn rancid or something. So, yeah. So we going from the silver age into the golden age. The silver age is a rediscovering of what's been lost. So it's a artificially induced Kali Yuga at the end, right before the close of the age, because somebody's job out of Big Mama house is to find who got conjures open and make them close that shit out. And don't matter what you do, they got to close that shit out, though. They got to agree to close the dirty conjures out at the close of the age, because if they remain open, it sends a reverse vortex of energy, and it's not going to turn out good for that family line. So, anyway, we going to go over something I went over once before about a year ago. And it's the Charles Manson story. There's a version that they tell us, but they tell us the real deal at the same time they tell us that the man was insane. You know, Charles Manson is the first so-called whistleblower slash conspiracy theorist. He the first one. In 1960s, he was in a CIA experiment for mind control and manipulation of groups of people, right? And there was another guy also in the class with him. You know him by the name of Joseph Sinkyu, from kidnapping Patty Hearst and forming the SLA, Symbionese Liberation Army. Anyway, in this class where they teaching them mind control and how to use LSD to give guided meditations and altered states of consciousness, basic shaman training. But instead of using the peyote or the toadstool, they was using a manufactured version called LSD. So while they was doing this, they teaching him all of the shit that they about to do. Yep, MK Ultra. They are teaching him how they using the chemicals in the water based off MK Ultra experiments. They found that the chemical fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum production. If you got an aluminum pan in your kitchen and you run your finger around across it, fluoride is the gray stuff that'll be residual on your finger. That's aluminum fluoride. Okay. The fluoride causes the body to go into protection mode, and it consumes the pineal gland with a waxy substance. If a waxy substance stays on the pituitary gland too long, it makes the individual compliant and susceptible to follow orders, because they've been cut off from their higher consciousness in the process. So they explained how it worked to Charles Manson. They explained that how they were planning to cause a race war at the close of the age to prove a point about their control over the masses using the media. So they told him about his opponent, who was going to get an army of melanated men, and he was to get an army of pale-skinned men, and they were supposed to go to war with each other. So now they setting them up, and while they setting them up, remember, all of this time Charles Manson's supposed to be on parole when he's forming what's known as the Manson family. And Joseph Sinkyu haven't got out of prison yet to start building his army, but he's on his way home. Okay. So Charles Manson, in turn, after learning all of this shit from his handler. Now, for those who remember Jim Jones in Guyana, the handler for Charles Manson was also Jim Jones' CIA handler. You got to remember that. Now, Jim Jones was taught mind control by the same exact individual who taught mind control to Charles Manson and Mr. DeFreeze, Joseph Sinkyu. So once this is done, they see Charles Manson building his family, but he's telling them everything that these motherfuckers is planning under a banner of some shit called Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter then becomes a moniker synonymous with what we call anarchy, right? And then you have the anarchist cookbook that's telling you how to fight the government and how to prepare and all of this stuff for government tyranny. So while Charles Manson teaching these kids this shit, he's not doing what the fuck the CIA told his ass to do. Form an army, attack the niggas. So Charles is telling the story to the Manson family about the government's plan to CIA was a medical experiment, Jonestown's. That was the Jim Jones was the manufactured Messiah type. This is how they always know if a person professing to be the Christ is telling the truth or not. If he a man, he automatically a fraud. The Christ is a female. So they all know this, but you don't know this. So since you don't know this, you don't know that David Koresh don't look like the Christ image that they gave you, because the Christ has always been the queen of heaven and earth the whole fucking time. That shit's never changed since the foundation of the universe. Why in the fuck would it suddenly change now? The Christ is only going to be the same motherfucker every goddamn time she come back, because it's always at the close of the age where she comes to see the development of her youth. You got to be wiser than the goddamn serpent and meek as a lamb, but you got to be strong as a gorilla. And here I am, ready to dribble these motherfuckers up and down the court. So Charles Manson, seeing in the eyes of the of the government, was not that he didn't start the war. He's telling these motherfuckers the whole fucking plan. He's telling these girls the whole fucking plan. Now you got to look at who is these girls he's telling the plan to, and why do they give a fuck that he's telling the plan to these girls? Well, one of the things is this. He's telling these girls who's drifters, wanderers away from home, trying to escape their well-to-do parents, right? Trying to escape their well-to-do parents. And in the process, they running into Charles Manson on this expensive-ass ranch. Now remember, the nigga don't got no job. He don't even got no job. So they say that this man was letting him stay in the barn, but ain't nobody never showed us who this man was that's supposed to be letting him stay in the barn. Right? Now, when they see that Charles Manson is drawing the following, what they do? They send some guy named Tex in to infiltrate. And Tex was the one who told the girls that Charles wanted somebody dead. At no time in any of their testimony, the police, the girls, anybody, Charles, nobody at any time ever said Charles Manson killed anybody. But now, when you look him up, they list him as one of the most vicious serial killers in history. Right? And from listing him that way, they also declare him as insane. Right? So now, then they label him as a racist. Now, he a serial killer, insane, racist. All the time, he ain't told nobody to kill nobody, but they blame it all on him, because now they can use that as the pretext to take him off the street for not doing what the fuck they told him to do. Start the fucking race war. So Joseph Sinkyu get out and he starts snatching the same demographic of youth that Charles attracted to build his Symbionese Liberation Army. Right? Now, why did he choose them? Because he had to feel some kind of way like we was being used to fight somebody else's war. So why won't we use their kids to fight our war? But the philosophy of Symbionese is a symbiotic relationship, two things which rely on each other for both of them to survive. Right? It's called symbiosis. And in the process, if they can learn to survive together, it keeps both species alive. And he said that his interaction with so-called white America required him to establish a relationship with white America and to form a symbiotic relationship to survive off of them the way that they survive off of us. So he decided instead of using his people, he would use they people to fight the war. Right? So the whole time, they not formulating the army to facilitate the helter-skelter race war propaganda that they wanted Charles to push in the so-called white community. Now, you got to remember, time-wise, what else was going on in this time frame? We had the Weather Underground, who was making allegiances with the Black Liberation Army, who had absorbed the most militant Panthers who had defected after they realized how thoroughly infiltrated the government had infiltrated the Panthers. Once this took place, they turn around and now all of the influential characters in the community, they COINTELPRO activate surveillance and takedown. And when they say takedown, it's whatever it takes to neutralize your influence in the community. They full throttle COINTELPRO, do what's necessary, from the murder of David Barksdale to the murder of Angel Bay's right-hand man, Big Bull, to the murder of Mickey Caldwell, from the murder of Raymond Washington in L.A. The list is endless of the people that they have had murdered because there was no other way for them to remove them from the community or to reduce their influence by nefarious means. So when you can go to New York, it's the same thing there. Baltimore, it's the same thing there. Boston, it's the same thing there. In Newark, it's the same thing there. Miami, the same thing. New Orleans, Atlanta, right? Little Rock. All over the land, it's the same infestation, right? Yep, so we talked about J. Edgar Hoover cross-dressing, flippity-floppity ass, passing for motherfucking something that he wasn't. So he was one of them who was loyal to the motherfuckers that they called JDL. These are motherfuckers who's executing all of these hits on like Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Donny Hathaway killed himself. Yeah, right. It's a song for you, motherfucker. So we sit here and we watching what they doing. And so Manson never gave an order for nobody to kill anybody. All he ever did was warn you about the nefarious plans that the government told him with one of their top agents, what they was going to do and what they needed him to do. and why they needed him to do it. And so now we calling him a serial killer, but he ain't killed nobody. We calling him a racist for stopping a race war. And we calling him crazy because he said that before the black man was in your city, the black man was God. When he was in this native form, he called it the jungle. That's a gorilla knock to me. The Congo. The Congo is the jungle, and the Congo key is the gorilla key, and the gorilla key gonna forever reside with me. You need to bump straight, bro. I ain't really trying to kick it with you till you bump straight. Um, I'm not sure about a man from the Congo split an atom in modern times, but it's always gonna fall back on the primate key, right? So we looking at gold key, silver key, solar key, lunar key, going into the sun cycle, father right to rule, right? But the father right to rule has to be accompanied by the mother right to inherit, silver key. Yeah. I told you, bump straight. I'll let you if you bump straight. Till you bump straight, and I ain't got no kicking this. You got to show me something productively positive in the betterment of the community for me to entertain your bullshit. Mm-hmm.
That's what's up.
Hey, hey,
That's what's up. I'm honored.
hey. Where you at? We can't see you. You ain't scared, is you?
Oh, my bad. My bad. Because, I've been keeping myself private for a little bit. But, I've been watching you for a minute. And we're going through a lot of things in life. And I really rock with what you're saying. And I appreciate you
Thank you.
on many levels that people may not think I'm on. Okay.
That's Hey, look. They can think whatever they want, and you can know what you know and not give a fuck.
It's some real shit though. Some real
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So I'm so honored. Like, how did I get on this?
You not the answer. That's all I can tell you.
Obviously none of us are the answer. The answer comes from
Yep. Big Mama answer every time I ask her something, she answered.
uh, you know,
Especially when it got to be something hard though, cause I don't go to it with no little trifle shit.
you
I
know,
I need $5 for some gas. I can go figure out how to get $5 on my own.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
When I go buy the Big Mama, it's a biggin.
You
This
know,
is a great big biggin here, Big Mama. I need some help.
well, I think in all sincerity, we all need a lot of help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming on here on on some sincerity, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about sincerity. And I need all the help I can get. And I know I have the help that I need, but to listen to you, Rodney Hayes, thank you. You know, I mean, I've lived, I don't know how many lives I've lived, but this life I'm living right now, and I'm 56, I'm kind of like, you know, I need a whole lot of people to step up. You know,
That's what Big Mama is sending. This is the message.
and so we're gonna have to like talk it, but we're gonna have to walk it. And I'm in New York, and you wherever you are, and everybody is where they are, right? Everybody is where they are. Everybody have something they want to say. But all I'm saying is like, do what the fuck you gonna do and make this shit real. Make it real. Because I've been living this life for a long time. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. Ain't nobody playing. I'm not in the mood to be played with. I love you. And how handsome are you? Nice little
Stop making.
big,
You just trying to make me blush.
nice little big
It's working too.
tendergrass. Come on and go with me. Come on over to my place. You know, I mean that in the most noble way.
I fucks with Teddy.
Well, I'm not Teddy, but you know, I'm Tracy. Well, I'm just saying.
Listen,
I read every code.
experience is enhanced by the soundtrack that's in the backdrop. Teddy is fine with me.
Well, you know, he's,
He
you
can
know
even
what?
he can even get instructions. I just fall in line. Shit. Go on,
I,
Teddy, tell
I'm just saying, know who I
him.
am. And I don't even like I don't even have that much control. I don't have that much control. But guess what? You know, it's all about love, baby.
At
It's
the end of the day.
all about love. Love you.
Okay. I'll talk to you later, sweetie. Thank you
All
for
right.
coming on.
Ciao.
All right. Come on and go with me. That's a good one, Teddy. Hey, look, the message from Big Mama was it's time to get motivated and activated. So now we got to start figuring out what do the mobility look like in order to manifest it. Hey, I use exercise to focus my energy so I can harness the rage and use it first to build who I was. And then once I learned how to use it to build my body, then I could translate the same burning of the energy to focus my mind and use the rage as the building block. That's the fire to keep all of this shit together. The rage. That's why I don't mind motherfuckers say, "You an angry black man, ex-con." Yep, that's exactly accurate as can fucking be. The rage don't go nowhere. It's that I find things that make my heart glow, that make the rage subside long enough for me to control it, right? So when I realize what the fight is all about, it's family business. There's no more room for the rage to override the glow. So now I can control it. But it's still there, and I still want to unleash this shit on a motherfucker's ass. But Big Mama said, sit your ass down and do what the fuck I tell you. And I'd rather listen to Big Mama than to follow my instinct to go for the drama, because I'll be in some real fucked up places right now, doing some fucked up shit to some foul motherfuckers. But the ability to see through their games and their bullshit requires a different viewpoint in order to look at the problem and explain the problem in a manner in which you know how to correct it. How you know who need to go. Then you know who to watch in order to find out who they connected to. Half of them, you take the adrenochrome from them and give them the promise of some adrenochrome, is like a crackhead with the promise of some crack. They gonna tell you where everybody at that's involved that they know of, and then they gonna tell you the ones that they think might be involved. Just let them hit that adrenochrome one more time before you cut it off for good. That shit, motherfucker, make the motherfucker start singing like goddamn it, the Temptations or Teddy. Spinal fluid. I tried to let the brother come in. I don't know if they're gonna let him in. I don't know. We'll see in a minute. There's another question. Look, the change in the timeline is so subtle, we're not noticing it. We're not noticing it at all, but it has been shifts in the timeline. It's been shifts in the position of the electromagnetic pole. When it's snowing in the desert, right? This is how you know that the magnetic field is changing its position, because it's causing the reverse phenomenon to take place. So yeah, they had snowed in Texas where it don't normally snow, especially like that. Had Texas in the deep freeze last year, right? It's the same thing they had Saudi Arabia in the same huckabuck at the same time. That's because the energy on the it's like electricity. It's following the path of least resistance. And when the electromagnetic field begin to move through the earth, that you're going to see the effect in the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is affected by the frequency and the vibrations of the earth. So the amount of water that evaporates from the oceans and lakes, and the positioning of underwater rivers or underground rivers that you don't even think exist, so you can end up going into a river sinkhole in Michigan and come out in the motherfucking Pacific Ocean going through an underground river, but they spring up now in the desert. So these are signs that the grid is shifting, and they'll tell you that the tectonic plates are moving, but it's not the plates this time, it's the electromagnetic field. Now, we are under what's called a Schumann resonance in the frequency of the earth right now. We need to flip the grid to a Shu and a Tefnut resonance. And if you go to the Egyptology, you'll see the physics of it is in the hieroglyphics and how it functions and what it does to shift the grid. You're supposed to shift the grid, yep. And this is the electromagnetic pole shift, but before Nibiru would come close enough to cause the tectonic plates to slide positions on the planet. And this is why they use the south as down phenomenon to twist our brain to believe that the earth grid had flipped, because we looking in the wrong orientation. It have our visual cortex disoriented because of perception. It's like a GPS. You need 3 points of conversion, and you need the right coordinates in order to know what frequency you tapping into in order to use the grid to navigate, right? But they don't tell you that you psychologically capable of this when you move into your higher senses, because you are the antibodies to the earth, like your white blood cells is to your body. And whenever the earth got a problem, you the one they call it to fix it. meaning me, meaning us, the team, the crew, the family, the clan, the firstborn of the earthborn, the daughters of Isis and her son, all this shit, right? So the 12 daughters of Isis is the 12 civil priests who got the same psychological connection to their mama as their little brother. But y'all don't know nothing about that because y'all allowed them to misconstrue the stories and tell them to y'all with a scrambled perspective. While they telling you about 12 disciples, he telling you them my 12 sisters. And when they telling you about the 12 sons of Jacob, he talking about them my 12 brothers. What the fuck is y'all doing here? Countering the balance on both sides, right? Because one 1 plus 2 on your right is 3, and 2 plus 1 on your left is 3. And if you're gonna balance it out, 3 and 3 is 33. So all you need is a third more of an increase, but that's just an honorary degree. Because soon as you end up at 33rd degree, you end up 1 degree higher than they frozen asses is stuck at 32 degrees Scottish Rite. Double head eagle. Cut that motherfucking head off, right? Inherit the mother line and the father line by birthright, mitochondrial right to inherit, motherfucking patriarchal right to rule, Y chromosome, X chromosome, right? And X marks the spot and Y is the unknown variable, right? But Y is still the question because the question is why. At least that's what Jadakiss said, right? Why you got to go through all this bullshit when you can't just be on your own motherfucking accord, on your own ability, on your own skill, on your own level? So you got to always be in competition with some motherfucker that ain't even competition with you, right? So you just keep telling the motherfucking truth and you let them motherfuckers keep saying what they saying. And when you realize what motherfuckers is doing, and then you start to see this shit play out in real time, it changes your whole perspective on life. You realize the amount of control you have in the overall reality is the amount you apply using your God reality realized self. That's why they tell you always go into the darkness. It's the simulation of being in the center of creation in the triple darkness while you manifest in your best life. Right? That's what they talking about, right? Go into the closet, but let your light shine into the world. Blind these motherfuckers with your greatness, right? But we're scared to allow our greatness to flourish in the presence of oppression because we didn't want our enemy to capitalize on our gains, right? It's because they had capital gains taxes, but we didn't. They understood the tax shelter, but we didn't. They knew about copyrights, but we didn't. They knew about rights to copy the copyright off the power of attorney on the flip side, but we didn't. So all we gotta learn all they shit in order to in order to get our shit. We gotta learn all of they shit in order to just naturally get what's our shit. We create this shit, we make this shit, but we don't take charge and control of this shit. So until we take charge and control of this shit in mass, that's the holdup. The holdup is in enough of us saying, wait a minute, I'm earthborn motherfucker right here on this land over here, right? You got to understand what took place on the land. They swapped motherfuckers out pretending to be us that they brought over here as servants. Some of them took sides with us. And you will know them because they going to tell the truth. And the other ones took sides with the enemy. And you going to know them because they going to wish we shut the fuck up talking about our organic status to this land and our tie to this land. This is how you know them. It's obvious. You had the Gullah Wars when we tell the story, but when they tell the story, it's the Seminole Wars. So you can know the difference in who telling the story when you hear it, right? So we got these sisters. I'm gonna do a special on them one day. Some sisters that y'all need to be up on. One sister out of Haiti. Ooh, I walked to Haiti to meet her. She's so cold. This one in New Orleans. I walked to the E&O to meet her too. She out cold. She want to tell you the story of Oshun. Had you in the middle of the story. It's only a little short clip. You be all up in there talking about, yeah, Oshun, you tell him, girl. All right, so we need to see what the mobilization should look like. We don't know what it looked like. We don't know how to um, properly assert the fact that we didn't reclaim this bitch, right? What we gonna do? The same shit they do, a news broadcast? Maybe. Take their shit over, hijack their shit, right? Then do a news broadcast, or what, show footage of these motherfuckers in doing they dirt, because they all on film. That be enough, but that's still not going to tell you how to exercise your power and control on the land. Power of control is in forming the strongest family bonds. Look, I tell all of the chiefs, you're going to hear me saying this more and more regular. If you one of the chiefs, don't take sides in no family beef, but talk to somebody in your family on either side that you never talked to before at least once a week. You got family members that's just your cousin that you never talked to. You never had a conversation with them, right? This is the first step of rebuilding our family structures. The elder women, when you was a younger lady and you didn't get along with your cousin because you ain't like the way she carried herself in public and she ain't like because you stuck in the church, it's time for y'all to get past that shit. Because when the family structure, y'all gonna automatically form around a matriarch. It's nature. When y'all form around the matriarch, then y'all gonna know the talents of the individuals in the family. The chief job at that point is to know who to put on the family boards to make family decisions from the position of competence. We're using the same think tank model for rebuilding the family that corporate America used to take over the world, right? We just going to apply it to the family. The family banks is the ones in the family that ain't going to steal from you. Then they're not going to deny you what you need in order to come up. We going to organize. The family banks got a purpose of taking out the central banks. So when the national debt becomes the national debit on the turnaround, because that's what has to happen. They close out the accounts because they have to now pay that amount of money to us because they said we was imbeciles in law. They was just going to continue to live off us for eternity. I said, no, the fuck you ain't. I'm not an imbecile in law. I know about your motherfucking papal bulls in your unum sanctums, and we not buying that shit. Me and my motherfucking family ain't got nothing to do with that shit. We need our accounts settled. Well, just so happens when the church settles our accounts, they got to settle yours too. The same way. So part of the infrastructure is family wealth building and understanding how to distribute. There will be counselors available in teaching modules on family banking that family members who has been sent to study how to handle the wealth, right? They are all of that's going to be available through the Small Business Administration. That's what they're going to be repurposed as, not for business, but family banking administration, to teach the family how to run the bank, how to use the money to help your members in your family, acquire property of different sorts, and how to make the money grow instead of allowing the money to become your anchor. You can allow it to become your wings. So we finna stop all of this selfish shit, right? Because you only gonna get what you earn, period. That's all. Ain't no extra shit taken from you. You might get some bonuses, but you only entitled to what you earn. You ain't entitled to no extra shit, but you are entitled to everything you earn. And if you get what you earn and are entitled to, you have to make your lifestyle fit that budget because that's what you want. That's what you give a fuck about. That's what you're willing to work for. But if you high ambition and you put in a lot of work because you know it's going to pay off in the long run, but you just don't know when, you might be able to, move higher up on the food scale. But if you look around your family, study the names of family members as you learn who they is too, because it's messages that your ancestors left in the names. And once you understand how the pattern of the family names work, then you'll know how to unlock secrets to your family line that can't nobody else unlock. Just by understanding who named their child what and why they named them that. Where did that name come from? What's the origin of the name itself? The etymology, how did it come used as a name? When you start studying that shit through the family tree, that's how you wake up to the awareness of how they switched the names. When they switched them, what names did they use in short, and what names did they transliterate instead of translate? Some of the names, like for instance, those names Shaw are Shoshone, right? You have people who's got last names like River. Those are clan last names because we named ourselves after the parts of the land that our clan used for the purposes of survival. So when we say the creek, we know that they live by the small running bodies of water, and we hear the river, we know that they live by like the big rivers of water. And now we understanding that a lot of the rivers was rerouted from man-made intervention and fucked up a whole lot of the ecosystem. So tribes are out of place. We all over the motherfucker. We baby kids. We don't die. We multiply in this motherfucker, right? So we start putting this together. There are similar tribes, similarly situated, clear around the globe. And every tribe similarly situated is exerting prominent power around the world. The United States clans are dragging their feet. Our clans over here is the ones that ends the game. But everybody else clans is closing out they paperwork parts where they was being defrauded at, and then they moving it over into tribal jurisdictions where they can handle. Like y'all still think this the Communist Republic of China, when it's now the Democratic Republic of China under a matriarchal rule, but y'all don't know that because y'all not can't keep track of that shit and live your life. I got to do that shit because I don't got no motherfucking life. I'm a workhorse. So I might as well ride in like a motherfucking knight, a black knight, and checkmate these motherfuckers while they thinking I'm just bullshit. I told them I was serious. Oh, here my girl right here. Watch how bright the screen get when she come on. You ain't hiding, is you?
Oh, I was like, is he talking to me?
I'm talking
Hey,
to you.
Uncle Hayes.
I was just telling him how bright the screen was gonna get. This motherfucker black as hell. I'm like, what the hell? Where she get?
My bad. I literally just pulled into the house. I was driving in traffic earlier. But it's so crazy. First of all, peace, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing good, but my spirit, I think, is struggling more than anything else. Because right now is the time where spirit is asking us to get right with spirit. spirit is um Spirit is asking us, hold on, I live where the airport is, so I might have to mute it a couple times.
So
Spirit is just bringing up. I feel like maybe the collective can. I don't know. Maybe if you resonate with this, or maybe the collective resonates with this, but I swear, like everything from childhood all the way up to right now is coming up for me, and it's just like this reflective state where it's. You remember the Ghost of Christmas Past, where it would take the person, Scrooge everywhere. That's how I feel my spirit. Big Mama is what. That's what I feel. Big Mama's doing is just like taking me here, there, and everywhere. And there's certain
and
parts.
what is she using to show you different parts of your life? Are she using visions or is she using locations to stimulate memories? How is she talking to you?
So I'm clairaudient, so I get messages sometimes audibly,
Hmm.
um, but it's more like memories. It'll be like I'll get like maybe sometimes I'll get like a something audibly, and then it'll take me back to when I was a child when this happened, or somebody will pop in my head that may be like, I did wrong or they did me wrong, and then that situation will come up. Or like if, for instance, one of the things is like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like
You
I
re-
have a
you're reviewing your book of life.
yes, but the reason why I feel like collectively this is such a big message for the collective is because our hearts will be weighed soon. A lot of our hearts will be weighed soon. And so spirit is like, are you right? Are you hold on one second. Like when once everything happens, not to be a Debbie Downer or somebody, but not all of us are gonna make it. Not
That's
all of
true.
us will still be on the land. And
That's
so
true. It's a lot of them know they're not gonna be here.
a lot of us, a lot of us are not a lot of people will not make it. And
A,
so
a lot of the ones that's not gonna make it is actually telling you they won't be here.
what you mean, like they're just saying it
They
themselves?
saying it out their mouth. They telling you they not gonna be here. This is not supposed to catch nobody off guard when certain people leave because they telling you.
Mm.
But it's gonna catch a lot of people off guard when they leave because they not from here in the first goddamn place and they ain't but never supposed to be here.
So I was talking to a friend about like this dimension, like planet Earth, and how like what our ideas of what it is exactly. And so he was talking about the Antarctic, uh the gates. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Stargate,
Yeah, you know how supposedly there's a world outside of our world past Antarctica.
yeah, that's such nonsense.
Okay. I was my perspective on it was that maybe this is that Earth is okay. I think about Earth in the sense of the Kabbalah, the tree of life,
Hmm.
and I think about it in the sense of like the reason why our heart is weighed at the end of our story here is because that tells us whether we get the level up or not.
Yeah, it's like a
What's
video
your
game.
take on it?
It's just like a video game. It's no different from saving up points on the video game to win prizes and to gain extra lives. Same shit.
But like
That's
it's
where we got it from.
mm,
All of that shit in the video games is based on esoteric principles of the mechanism by which this 3D reality functions.
and so basically it's a test of your integrity and your character and your will. So it's like,
Some people not born with a golden heart.
are they supposed to obtain it? Like, is
No,
that their mission?
no.
No.
They just here to sabotage.
So like when they say a hater's doing this job, like some people just really,
Right.
mm,
Now, the sabotage method that they use was to turn us against each other.
right.
This is to turn off our connection of confirmation from source energy by not trusting each other to tell each other the truth.
Mm. That part. That was
right?
another thing that was getting on me is that everybody wants to be a chief and nobody wants to be an Indian. So it's like, well, when the shit hit the fan, we talking about tribe up, but nobody want to listen and take orders from nobody.
Yeah, because we don't nobody trust nobody. See,
Right.
the goal is not to keep the people a chief or the Indians is to make every Indian qualified to be the chief, but we all gonna work together for the greatest good of the collective.
Because that's how it
That's the
works. We were
goal.
all a big family. Right.
Right, because they only want a certain member in the family to stand out as the golden child and next to the in line, but the one who put in the most work should get the position, right? And that's how we were on the land. So if you put in a certain amount of work to build your life and I put in a certain amount, I'm happy for you just like I'm happy for me.
Right. We got to get rid of that jealousy. We
Right. And that's a manufactured and taught behavior. They taught that to us. That's part of the divide and conquer construct. Well, look, envy is not supposed to work negatively. Envy is supposed to inspire you to meet your level so that you can compete with somebody else that's meeting their level as a form of friendly competition. The corruption of envy is jealousy. Jealousy is when you don't want nobody to have more than you or that you think somebody always want what you got. Those are bad behavioral traits that we all need to address. Right? So, um, different teaching mechanisms produce different characteristics within people. If you teach the people to be family oriented, it makes the clan stronger because the families are stronger. They tell you right in the book, they rent the royal garment and auction it on the auction block. They tell you in their history books that they sold us on the auction blocks. Then they turn around and tell you that they ransomed us off. Right. So the reality is they ransomed us off to separate the family. They had to make sure that we conform to the bullshit they levied on us. So this video about to cut out. I got less than a minute and a half, right? But the understanding is we want everybody to be independent thinkers, but know how to come together and work together as a team to overcome any obstacle that any other clans face. We can't look at just my clan because now we all everybody involved in the war, everybody got to be involved in the solution. So we working on the solution. Some people want more than they deserve, and some people don't want quite what they owe. But you can't let the greedy take from those that's willing to give, right? So you got to keep a balance to that shit, and that's what we working on. So peace out, peeps. That's it for me for the night. I'm finna kick back and I don't know, do something. He said, "Come back, we learning." Um, I might come back on in a few minutes. Let me see what I got. What I got over here to do. I might roll me up another fat one and have another smoke session. I don't know yet. Don't quote me on that. It's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility, right? So, it's a question here.